to put us into a little box and have, here's what you learn, here's what you're gonna learn, here's what you need to learn, and this is what you're gonna be when you grow up.
So do we put more? So do we? So then it goes back to my question. Then, how much responsibility is it for the family, the parent? I don't care how the family, whether it's a broken family, a separate family, whatever. How important is it for the family to teach us or teach our children, or do we put too much hope into the teacher?
You put too much hope into your teacher. You can't. Yeah, you put way too much hope into your teacher. A lot of kids, they'll go to school and they think that the teachers, well, parents, they'll send their kids to school, think the teacher's supposed to give them time. You don't even sit down and do homework with your kids. You know, you don't even, some people, parents don't open up their kids' backpacks. You know, like just little stuff. They don't do anything. You have to be, that's why I said it takes a village to raise a child, you know.
When do report cards come out? Y'all don't even know. See, that's what I'm talking about. Stereotype. They don't even know until they get them. Oh, y'all got report cards?
So I feel like, as parents, childcare is, you have to have childcare, even with two parents, you know what I'm saying? Somebody will have to watch the babies if y'all working, you know what I'm saying, in most families. It's more so about being particular about who's watching your children. You know what I'm saying? You can't just enroll your kids in the daycare on 26 and so-and-so, and just send them there just because that's convenient and cost efficient. We gotta really think, you know what I'm saying? So, like my 3-year-old nephew, he never been to daycare, never, just because of how it is. Shoot, we pass him around the fam, but there's certain people in the fam that's not gonna get the care for little JoJo because they're not like-minded. You know, moms might not like how my cousin them's raising their kids, so he's not gonna get to go over there for 8 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of influence. You get heavily influenced depending on where you at. So, of course, it's not gonna be possible for everybody to, to have like-minded people watch your kids. But if we start coming together as a community, we can have these, you know what I'm saying, daycares and community centers where we know is sisters and brothers there that's gonna care for your kids and teach them the way you would teach them if they were at home with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So somebody has to break the cycle.
Yeah, somebody has to break the cycle, and it's already been happened. It's already been done. You know, in West Philly, the Move organization, they had those blocks. You know, everything was self-sustained basically. They bombed them. They got bombed. You know, like in Philadelphia, the American government bombed some black people who were literally educating themselves, providing for themselves, sustained. We've always tried to, and it always gets destroyed some way, somehow. All the Wall Streets that we've had as black people have been destroyed. You know, everything that we have as black people, it gets destroyed, you know, some way, somehow. And sometimes we aid in our own self-destruction, but because we fall into the traps of what they, you know, like it's always something, you know, we will aid into destruction, but it's still, they're always trying to get, I won't say but something's always trying to take down black people, the powers that be. It's always something. Whenever we're too threatening, whenever we're too, then we don't need you. We don't need you to do this. You can't do this. You need us. You need this. You need what we give you. You know, it's the Democrats are social engineers, and the GOP, they just money hungry, money grubbing. Nah, give me all this. So it's really just, there's no, as far as with the political aspect of it, it's a lose-lose. You know, so it's kind of like, as black people, what can we do?
So let's say Michelle, because I haven't heard from you in a second, or Lillian, either one of y'all. Tell me, all right, so, because I don't want it to, it's not me, all right, but as a general, how much responsibility are we taking for our own? Because it seems like we still keep going back to what they did, what somebody else is doing, you know, what the media says, what's in the news, what they teaching them, what the other people, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean, how much accountability do we have for our own? And by our own, I don't even mean by our own kind, I mean literally our own. I ain't gonna say how many kids, but a few of them, right? But them are my responsibility, and 2 of them don't even live with me, right? But that I don't lose my responsibility for them, and I can't be upset 15 years from now when they turn out like they told them to be. You know what I mean? When I still have a certain level of accountability. or you know what I mean, or just help me.
Okay, with the family thing, I feel like the community thing is huge. We have to take care of each other. Like, I think that, I feel like God always blessed me in my life to have people fulfill the roles that I didn't have a person. Like when, you know, like, not to tell y'all business, but my father went to prison. When he went to prison, I feel like God put men in my life to be a father figure. I think that, you know, I didn't have a brother for a certain amount of time. And, you know, like, I feel like, you know, there are people that are put in place, and it's up to the parents to pick the right people, to be responsible enough to know who you're, you know, leaving your children with. It's important that we take care of each other. Like, it's so important. Our community just in general, like, we need to be more of a community. I think that as far as them doing stuff to us, I think that we don't know who we are. Like, our lack of our self-history is like the stem of all of the issues that we have in our lives.
Who are you talking about?
Us as in, well, specifically black people. Like, I always feel like, I always thought it was so weird how black people have no interest in, or not, you know, in general, like, you know, learning their African heritage. Like, you know, our history, we let it stop at the slave ships. Like, we don't even want to know where we come from or anything. And it's like, that's why we're aimless. Like, we are aimless, just, you know, like, just in general, because we have nothing, no solid ground. And I think that's the beginning of all of this. That's why we don't know what to teach our kids, because we don't know. What we gonna teach them? You know, like those things are so important. Like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's not that we're immature. I think it's not that I don't think it's because we're aimless, you know, because when we do have aim, that's what I was talking about as far, it's not really like what people are doing for us, because as individuals and as families, you have to take care of your children, as communities. But I was talking about when we as black people get together to actually do something for ourselves as black people, there's a lot of us. You know, there's a lot of us in America, even though it's not all, even though we're basically, we're the minority, the largest minority, I suppose. Is Hispanics have gotten us there?
Yeah, they got
Okay. Well, like, it's because when we come together as black people, we come together as black people to actually do something big and do something, you know, that can really change how society perceives us and how the government treats us, it gets cut off. And that's what I was saying as far as, you know, and that's what I was talking about when we actually do something. And we haven't seen anything that's even remotely big. Now we're happy with President Obama being the president, you know? Now it's like, cool, but there are no
Hold on a second, I'm sorry.
organizations.
She just almost failed. I just want to acknowledge that. Because I want you to look around, we saw you. Okay, all right, come back.
We'll make it real short because I think we're moving on, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to them for a second, but I'm gonna let you do this real quick.
When you said responsibility, right, it's like, and the illusion of better quality for fairer skin. So, I mean, if you live in a white supremacy society, then of course, whatever tone is closest to white will give you that supremacy, right? So, yeah, that's where that comes from.
So then, why? Because we have it on both sides. I
Yeah.
mean, you have lighter people who feel a certain way about darker people.
Yeah.
And you have some people who only because they love their roots so much
Yeah.
that they only like the blackberry sweet
Me.
juice. So, you know what I mean? I like all of it.
That's me, boy. I
I
swear.
like all of
See you,
it. I
teacher.
ain't gonna lie to you. But I'm just, but my point is though, you know what I mean? You know,
What?
you kind of mentioned where it comes from. We really
Yeah.
can go into a little more detail, but I'm trying to.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's messed up or whatever, but it's the same as like natural hair versus processed hair. It's the same as like bad feet versus like open toe sandals. I don't know. It's like it is those distinctions. We are a people of sections and categories, right? We are born putting things into categories. My daughter is 3 years old, and she is going to make sure that all the red or oranges Play-Doh is in the same area, and all the green Play-Doh is in their area. It's like we are creatures of organization. We are creatures of pattern. So it is what it is. I mean, the black and the berry, the sweet and the juice, though. Off top,
You just keep throwing that out there.
You know,
Shout out to all my blackberries.
y'all don't
Come
claim.
on, they're all blackberries. Come on.
Now, you know,
Real quick. because I'm sure that we want to get into the more not as serious topics here shortly, but I wanted to add for this
All
one.
these topics are serious, but no, I'm just playing. Go ahead, Tasha.
But I don't know. I feel like as a people, we unify once we realize that it was written for us to be divided like we are. You know what I'm saying? Like I just mentioned, like the Willie Lynch letter. Like as soon as you brought that up, because to any people here, because it looks like it's us. Read the Willie Lynch letter, and you'll see. Like I don't know when it was written, maybe 1776 or something. I think I'm getting that difference somewhere. Anyway, this is written in the 1700s by a slave owner from Britain who's trying to teach all the slave owners in the United States how to control their slaves for 300 years, how to control their slaves even after we're not in physical bondage. And it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like in the letter, he says you have to put young against old, light skin against dark skin, men against women. What? Old people always talking down on the young black people. Young black people always talking about their elders, you know what I'm saying? And we hate our men. They hate us, you know what I'm saying? We baby mamas and instead of wives and girlfriends, and that's my sister. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? We really have to know it was constructed for us to be divided. So we need to sit down and be like, okay, it worked. They got us, got him. You know what I'm saying? Now it's time to like sit down and be like, you know what? I ain't gonna be team. I used to be team dark skin straight up in high school. I'm team dark skin. What you mean? Like light skinned girls know, but that's goofy. That's silly. You know what I'm saying? That's real ignorant. And we gotta stop that, like, cause it was written, real talk.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, say this.
Every woman in here compliment another woman. Just at some
Even if
point
she's
in
ugly.
every day, for real.
No, I'm just-
Like, I love your necklace. It's awesome. Like, for real. We have to do that. Like, that's what we don't
Girl,
do.
you got
We have to
3
congratulate
bucks.
each other. Like,
That's
we
a
have to
kid
tell
at
each other
3
that we
bucks.
are all for real though. Like, because of that, because of the separation. Like, I think that we have to first understand that it came from somewhere, and then we have to decide that we're not going to do that anymore. Like, we're not going to be separatists. We're not going to not date a guy because he's light-skinned, or we're only going to date a girl because she got light-skinned, long hair, and so she's obviously pretty. Like, those things, we just have to remember that
Right, 'cause I
they were
seen some
systematic,
light-skinned
it was
long hair,
done. Right, and then fight and just be the opposite. Don't do
Right.
it. Like, that's the only way I just feel like is once you know it, because when you know it, when you read that letter, it makes you angry. Like, you immediately are going to be like, oh my gosh, if you never read it before. So you will immediately have some sense of, I must change this. I